Welcome to the Rising Consciousness Show, 20 minutes of soulful insights and powerful tools to elevate your life experience and create with higher clarity, intention, and vision. I'm Tara Antler, intuitive healer and soul coach.
And I'm King Gabriel, spiritual teacher and practitioner. And we are the co-founders of Ascension Academy of Life,
a global center for spiritual growth, intuitive healing, and soul alignment.
Get ready to blast off.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. I have a very beautiful special guest, a return guest who I love having these soulful, deep, beautiful conversations with, Miss Maria Fontana. Thank you so much for being with us again today.
Hello, my gorgeous Tara. I am so honored to be here. Always an honor for me to be in your light and share with your audience, my friend.
Thank you. And you just got back from Italy. So she's in this Italian glow buzz. We were talking about lemon trees and the ocean. And I so feel you, sister.
Yes, It was so good. It's where I'm soul grounded. It's where my soul just like comes to life 100%. And I just feel so connected when I'm there.
And that's exactly what I want to dive into today is that connection, right? Because there are times, places, and states where we feel deeply connected to ourselves, to our higher self, to our purpose, to our soul. And when we are connected in that way, we feel lit up. You glow, you're glowing, right? Because you were just in that beautifully expanded space. And so first I want to introduce everybody to you, and then we're going to dive on into the conversation. So I've known Maria through a very beautiful, soulful business container that we were both a part of, that we're still in different ways and circles. And Maria and I connected because I think when you meet certain soul sisters along the way, there's this soul familiarity. And when you lean into that conversation, you just know each other. It's like, hi, old friend. There's not this long, drawn out process of getting to know each other. You just know each other deeply, because I believe it's also part of who you are, Maria. You very much lived a spiritual life, listening to your intuition, listening to your higher guidance system. And when two souls that are vibing on that same frequency meet, there's an immediate connection. And so Maria, she's been a hairdresser a long time. I'll let her fill in the blanks on that. But now today, she really supports other salon business owners create that next level of thriving business and abundance and being able to make the shifts and pivots that they need to sometimes when we outgrow ourselves and our business. So I would love for you to introduce yourself, let everybody know who you are and what you create in the world.
Oh, thank you. Well, my name is Maria Fontana. First of all, I am a mom, a human. I have two beautiful children. I was a hairstylist for 3 decades, and about, I would say 18 years ago, I saw the digital world coming into play. And I thought to myself, it was a download. I didn't think, I felt. I thought, you know what? I've got to honor this whole feeling of maybe helping other people, because people were constantly picking my brains. I've owned over 11 businesses, salons, spas, wellness. I even ventured into a cab company once. So to make a long story short, I started to work on my inner self and do a lot of healing work as I was going through this journey of life. I hit rock bottom and all these things that went on in the journey of my existence. And I started to help other people with coaching. So that's how I developed my coaching practice. So now I have Maria Fontana Consulting that helps Salon-Spa Wellness practitioners reinvent and take their next step to their wholeness. And the Salon Business School, which is a super affordable and intentional business academy where I teach business, mindset, and marketing. So it's really simplified and it's really soul aligned.
I love that so much. And I think we need more of that in the world. We need more simplified. I think we've gone overcomplicated. And I believe this is our return now to the simplified, make it easy, make it fun, make it doable. And then let's be successful while we're doing all of that, right?
Yeah. And it comes down to, Tara, like my downloads, my intuition. Once I started doing a lot of inner work and allowing and healing and going through different phases of my life, and when I was ready, the teacher always appeared, but I did the work. I really stepped into my truth. And a lot of times I want to share with everyone, whenever I would honor my truth, a lot of people around me got pissed off because my truth didn't align with the old story, or my truth didn't align with what everyone else thought I should be doing. Or, when I followed my intuition, I was called erratic, risky, crazy. You're going to screw up your kids, blah, blah, blah. So I will say that every time I ignored the downloads and the force from within, I've always been unhappy. And I can feel it when I feel off physically, because if I ignore it long enough, I do get physically ill. I get a pain or whatever, something happens. Because the body's like, yo, I'm talking to you and you're not listening. So I'm going to stop you in your tracks. If I ignored my intuition, I always wound up getting backslapped till I listened.
100%. I think that's true for everybody. And I love that you listen deeply. And sometimes we don't know until we get the backslap. Because many times we don't know, because I think sometimes people get confused as to what is my intuition? What is the regular voice? Maybe what's the past? What's the ego? What's the worldly conditions that are coming at me? And many times we don't know until trial and error hits us and we get the backslap, and then we're like, oh, that was one of those moments. That was one of those moments that maybe if I leaned into my intuition, I could have avoided that. And then we learn and we grow and we go again. And I love that you listen to your intuition on that, because I agree with you. It brings us to greater expanded versions of ourself in our life. It's not just, we're no longer playing the mundane, we're playing the expanded version of ourselves. And that's what I love so much about you. I see you glowing and radiating and living life in such a beautiful, large way, and being willing to do things outside of the norm. It takes courage, especially when everybody else is going this way and you're like, and I feel like I need to do this. It takes courage.
You're totally right. And what I found too, Tara, is society, sadly, because of their own fears and limitations and beliefs, want to keep you in a box, right? And if you stay in that box, you will suffer. So, I meet with a lot of spa, salon, wellness practitioners and owners, and they're like, yeah, but I've always done it this way, or I can't change the business model. What will people think? And that's always what's holding them back, is fear of what people will think, fear of society, fear of all this other silliness. And the truth is, that's where we do the inner work.
Yeah, I agree. I think that when we live by our intuition and live outside that box, it will expand us. It's uncomfortable when we aren't experiencing that. Like when we aren't experiencing the higher self and we aren't experiencing life through our intuitive guidance system, we can get very uncomfortable. We can feel the limitations. We feel the lackluster. We feel it's kind of mundane. And for some people, it gets really boring. And I don't know about you, but I feel like going into new territory, even if no one else has done this before, or if I'm one of the few that's going for it, that energy of excitement and doing something outside of the norm and outside of the box, it's not that I'm doing it, and I'm sure you're the same. It's not that we're living this, fringe life because we want so much more attention, or we're going, it's more of an inner knowing. There's this inner truth. There's this inner calling. There's this inner voice of something inside of us that says, you need to create this, or listen, flow with this, move in this direction. And every time we do, there's an expansion. But when we contract, or when we listen to fear, like you said, when other people might be like, everybody else is going to think I'm crazy, or no one else in the industry has done this, there's a moment of contraction and we pull back. And then we pull back inside of ourselves. And then that's when we fall down into more of what I would call like a limited life experience. Have you ever experienced that?
God. Absolutely. So I'll tell you real quick, when I first got divorced, and it was a very rough time for me. My children were very small, but I knew for many years that I was staying out of obligation. That time, and then when I decided to step out of a brick and mortar mindset and start an online business, those 2 times in my life were 2 of the hardest times where I had resistance from the people that loved me the most, because they could not comprehend what I was doing. But what I will say is, what I found is, in that experience, honoring inside, I've learned I don't assume, I don't try and even analyze it. I'm like, how does this feel? And it's always here. It's so deep. If it feels right for me, then I do it. And that's how I rebuilt my businesses. I built 2 uber successful 7-figure online businesses, doing things on my own way. Yes, I had mentors along the way and of course support, but no one thought it was possible. And again, it's staying in that fear of, especially when it's the people around us who we really love, or it's family, or it's friends, or it's partners. It's doing your own work and saying, I'm okay with you not approving, but I approve of myself. And I learned that from one of my first healers who helped me. She said, you have to mother yourself. And I'll never forget that. And that changed my life, because it was like, I give myself permission. And that is actually how I get through every single decision I make. And you're not being mean or inconsiderate of other people, because I can love you from a distance, Tara, even if I don't agree with you, even if I don't think what you're doing is right. I can still love you from a distance. It doesn't mean I have to approve of you, but I still can love you. And that's just what I've learned to be true for me.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that sometimes when people that we care about, they have those thoughts about us, like maybe what you're doing, I don't see it as the best thing for you, or whatever it is. I think a lot of times they're projecting and representing, they're holding up what we call the mirror to us, probably some form of truth around a fear we might have around stepping into that next level of ourselves. Because when you said that, what I heard was, it sounds so similar to the ego. Because our ego identity knows us in a certain capacity. And when we go to grow, the ego has a moment where it freaks out a little bit. Sure. It says, no. Are you sure you want to do that? Are you sure you're going to step in that? Are you sure that's the way that you want to go? And it starts to insert almost doubt, because it's coming from fear of change. And when you said that about even external people, I think sometimes they represent that ego version of ourselves. And we have a choice in that moment to either lean into what the ego or everybody else is saying, which is like the shadow part of us. It's like a temptation almost, right? That says, are you sure you want to grow? You could just stay right here. You don't have to do anything different. This is what's safe. This is what's normal. This is what's consistent. But you're like, I really want to go, I want to go over here. Yeah. And there's an excitement and there's a pull. And I think this is the crossroads moment that a lot of people get to, where we need to make that decision. So I have a question for you. In your journey in life, have you ever gotten to that point where you've reached a crossroads where you're like, if I go this way, that's going to result in a certain reality experience. And if I go this way, it's completely different. And then second part to that is, how did you know the difference between making those choices?
Okay, I'll answer it backwards. So I've learned through my own journey that I call it my angel self and my humanness. That's what I call them. And they are both, naturally I want to put my angel self here because I feel like it's light, and not that there's anything wrong with my humanness, but the humanness, it to me is my fear, right? To keep me alive. Like that's what the humanness wants to do. So I try to always look at them like this, and then I have them connect in my heart. And to answer the first question, I have learned, just like when we work out to get, nice muscles, by practicing to listen to my angel self always over my humanness, because I've learned through repetition that my angel self, my light, my soul, my spirit, my higher self, whatever the heck you want to call it, there's a million names for it, is my truth. And that truth will always lead me to whatever my journey is that I chose to come on this earth for. So does that answer both of them?
100%. My whole being is lighting up and smiling because that's exactly it. 100%. And I would love for you to highlight maybe even the difference, because sometimes we think that we might be living by the higher self, but I want you to share maybe choices that you've made where it wasn't in alignment with your higher self? Like maybe you made the choice from the human or from fear, from ego, versus a time when you did make a decision from your higher self. And where did that lead you? What was the contrasting experience?
Okay, so the first thing that comes to mind many years ago, again, while my marriage was falling apart, I was hearing from a lot of people, oh, well, you need to get a real job. Because I will just elaborate, and I do talk about this a lot. For some reason, being a service provider, a hairdresser, a hairstylist, a beauty wellness professional, it was never coined a real job by a few people in my life that meant a lot to me. So when I was getting divorced, oh, maybe you should get a real job, get a steady job. You need a pension. I mean, again, that was their fear, their mindset. And I was so weak at that time that I'm like, maybe they're right. Maybe this is real. What am I doing? But I was already a successful business owner for years and years and years, but I had lost everything in my divorce. To make a long story short, I had a temporary lapse of reason, and I listened to not my higher self, because I knew damn well I could not conform to having a real job. So what does Maria do? I have a master's in business and finance. Once again, that's another story for another time. I went to college to please my mother while I owned a salon just because she thought I wasn't good enough because, okay, that's relevant. I'm getting off topic. So,
but it's so relevant though, because I think a lot of people do that, right? Like we make decisions based on what we think the world or someone else wants of us to appease that part. And then we go, what did I just do?
Right. So on the same note, I fell into this moment of humanness and weakness and fear, and I was beaten down. I had 2 little kids, whatever. I went and got my mortgage license. Now, mind you, I'm a smart chick. I went and got a job at a bank doing mortgages. Was I good at it? Of course I was, because I'm a people person. Sure, I killed it. But Tara, it was horrific. Horrific in a way that it killed my soul. And one day I thought to myself, I didn't last long. It was a few months. I'm like, I'm not fucking doing this. And I just packed it in. I said to this kid that was my boss, I go, hey, I'm leaving. I quit. You could be my son. And those pants are too damn tight. You should be ashamed of yourself. I don't want to go. And I mean, this is, again, I'm a little erratic like that because that's just me. I couldn't take it. And I bootstrapped. I figured it out. I reopened my salon. Then I got it online. And to make a long story short, so anytime you go against what your soul is telling you to do, what looks right, what fits in, what everyone thinks you should be doing, is crazy. And I'll tell you another quick story about how I followed my soul. When I got divorced, a few months later, my first boyfriend, my Giuseppe, my husband today, who I met in 1983 on the beach in Italy, where I love, he reached out to me and he sent me an email. I mean, it was like 2011. He said, I would really love to have a conversation with you. He goes, I always loved you. I heard you just got divorced. I'm thinking, what is this guy nuts? It's like 30 years. He doesn't even know me. Anyway, fast forward. I followed my soul because the minute I heard from him, I buckled at the knees. He sent me a ticket to go to Italy for the weekend to meet him in Rome. The rest is history. We got together. The shit hit the fan. There was an upheaval. I was erratic. I was irresponsible. I was crazy. You're going to ruin that. Your kids are going to be blah, blah, blah. We're married 10 years. He's my soulmate. It's the best thing I ever did. But again, if you looked from the outside, I caused major chaos in my family. We really created chaos. But I would do it 1,000,000 times over because it's the best thing I ever did. And my children are well-adjusted, beautiful, successful humans. They're soul people like you and I, and it's all
so
good.
Incredible. I think that's what everybody wants at the end of the day. I think we want the healthy family. We want a beautiful partnership. We want to be able to walk life in our spiritual alignment or whatever that means to each person. We want to live wholly in ourself. We want to feel our truth. And even if it disrupts, and that's the thing that will happen many times when you start shifting you outside of the regular, outside of the norm, you are going to see ripples and waves of that where it stirs people up. I remember when I decided after university, I was going to become a holistic healthcare practitioner, healer. My parents thought I was in a cult. because I kept coming home and I was teaching them and sharing like all these amazing things about energy and chakras and all this incredible stuff that I was so lit up about. And they were just looking at me like, what are you doing? You just finished 4 years university. You said you were going to go become a physiotherapist. Now you're doing this other thing. And they asked me straight up, they said, have you joined a cult? I'm like, are you serious? You think I joined a cult? Like, no. And I fast forward, and I think this is the testament of making those choices, because when, like you said, when you fast forward from making those decisions to where you are now and the beautiful life that you have and what you've created, consciously created for yourself, it speaks volumes. It's like, of course I would have made those decisions. Right. And it's like my parents, the same thing, looking over those years, 23 years, they now say to me, I'm so proud of you, and that you didn't do what everybody else was telling you to do. It's very rare that we hear that reflected back.
No,
right? I love that you're reflecting this and feeling this.
And you know, I'm going to say, I just got a download while you're talking to me. I just felt like this surge of energy. The decisions I made along the way have created ripple effects. Like, I would not be sitting here talking to you if I never made that first decision to take a risk and go online, go do the things I want to do, not be afraid to put on, get a phone and start recording videos. I remember when I started doing stuff online, there was some of my relatives, they're like, what are you doing? You're making a fool of yourself. I'm like, block, delete, block, delete, block, delete. And you know what? Now they're like, oh, could you show me how you did that? Get the F out of here. Sorry.
So true. It's so true. I agree with you. And isn't it funny how it comes around full circle? And this is where I think many of us here that listen and tune into this frequency, you all are leaders, and you're all leading life in your way. And when you listen to your higher self and you listen to through intuition and you live by that, you're going to lead something that probably is very different than what everybody else is doing. And I know that can feel challenging. Stick with it, because the courage, the strength, like you said, flexing that muscle, becoming that next version of yourself is so worth it if you just keep going. And I think that's the thing, like you and I can really speak into, having the years of doing this work and being an entrepreneur. When you get to a certain place where you're like, no, it all works. Like, you just have to keep doing it and keep listening to you. And so I want to speak into that a little bit in terms of your most expanded life, because we love talking about creating an awesome life, creating heaven on earth, whatever that might mean, health, joy, abundance, all the things. What is your version, like from where you are now? Because I know we're ever expanding, we're forever growing. But as you're creating this next version of Maria and her life and all that comes with that, what is the vision that you have for your next version of self, your most awesome life? When you're living that most awesome heaven on earth, what does it feel like? What does it look like?
So a journey, something that really sticks out for me is I've always listened to my intuition, but I'm mastering being really regulated now coupling with my intuition. So I've been working really on speaking less, which is really bizarre because I love to talk, but I'm learning to feel more, tune in, speak less. And the next version is whatever feels good. And this is something I want to share with your audience. Be really mindful that your life does not have to look like anyone else's, especially today with social media. It can be really crazy. The filters, which I like filters. I like getting rid of I get it. But sometimes there's this weird line where it's becoming not human. And you have to say, you don't need to have a life like anyone else. Like, what's right for me in what I think is success and what brings me joy, I gauge it on my journeys today, tomorrow, the next day, every day. I'm like, what feels good? And actually, we talked about this before we came on the podcast. I said to you, I felt something was off. I had to tap in and check in with myself, because that's the barometer for me. How do I feel? And that's it. period.
Love that. No, I love that so much. There's a wisdom that comes from what you just said too, and stepping into that, right? Because like you said, when you're tuning in and you're listening, there's so much that comes in. And then when you do share and you do speak, it's so on point, it's perfect. And the alignment is there. Like it's so connected. And I feel like that's where it's like the alignment. Because I think a lot of times people, when it comes to the perfect and perfection conversation, there's stress and there's pressure that comes with that, right? Like you said, the filters, I noticed, like I was saying, like now being 47, I noticed some changes in my skin. So I don't mind having a little soft filter, on the thing, because I know myself. I remember, that version. I think that's what it is. But it's about alignment. I think at the end of the day, it's really about our alignment. And that alignment speaks to everything. Alignment with our truth, alignment with our word, alignment with our action, alignment with our vision, alignment, like you were saying, knowing you have kids and their alignment right now is to finish their school where they are. Mm-hmm. And then your alignment, in your heart is Italy. Like that's part of your alignment. And that. There's no doubt, there's no question. It's not a matter of if I will ever get to Italy and live in Italy, It's just, it's living and being in alignment and trusting and stepping as you need to and following that flow. And when that time comes perfectly aligned, we'll be having this call and you'll be like, I just bought this beautiful villa in Italy. Yeah. And this is where I live now permanently. This is where where home is.
I call it calls on the balcony. I laugh because I love doing my calls on the balcony when I'm there. It's like, it's just so perfect.
So fun. It's so beautiful. And anything else that you feel called to share in terms of living your higher self, really tapping into intuition and being able to utilize both of those gifts? Because I really believe tapping into our higher self, it's a muscle, it's a practice, and it's a gift to be able to listen to our higher self, as is our intuition. And the intuition I always see intuition as like this bridge between our higher self, the expanded version of ourself, as you would say, your angel self, and the human here. And so anything that you feel called to share as we close out around really living in that higher self domain and allowing your intuition to guide you into these beautiful experiences that you've had.
What's coming to me is something that I feel really powerful about, and that's allow. The word is allow. Give yourself permission to change your mind. I may have felt something at 8:00 this morning that was a message I needed to feel or was something I needed to process. But maybe now at 3:15, something that maybe I committed to or I thought I was going to do, if my intuition, my soul gives me, I call them twinges. I twinge and I'm like, I don't want to do that. I check in with myself and I'm like, I don't second guess. See, that's what I think a lot of people do. A lot of people second guess and they think it's fear and this and that. And this is just my take on it. My first impulse from here, I don't second guess it. I have actually turned around going to a wedding on the Parkway, which is like a highway. And I said to my husband, I don't want to go. Let's turn around. He's like, what are you talking about? Now he doesn't even ask. He's like, okay. And it's really allowing ourselves to change our mind, because sometimes our downloads are delayed or sometimes our downloads aren't as clear as we need them to be.
You should coin that, the delayed download.
The delayed download. That's a good one. Right?
Downloads.
Because sometimes we're just in so much. Right. And I think too, again, I mean, this is not my expertise, it's yours, but I just think from spirit that other people's energy sometimes, especially because I work with so many people, hands-on, hairstylists, wellness practitioners, holistic practitioners, when you're physically touching people, as much as we protect ourselves, I think other people's energy, like you could see a visual, I'm like making this tangles. It tangles and it can delay your own downloads. So my closing statement is give yourself grace. Allow yourself to change your mind, because it's really not your mind. It's just your mind listening to your soul. And be gentle with yourself. And your life does not have to reflect anyone else's life, be it changing a business model, which is huge. So much of that right now. Trying to raise the consciousness of the earth. I'm helping people change their business models, make life easier for themselves, clear, or if it's changing relationships or, creating more boundaries. Like I said, you can love someone from a distance. That's something I had to learn to do, and not allow them to muddle up your force field.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. And I think that in this time, because when our intuition opens and our spiritual awakening goes through the roof and expands in the capacity that it is right now, it's really easy to pick up on what is happening in the field and other people. And there is an entanglement that happens. And so sometimes there is a delayed download that comes because you're like, yes, this is what I'm doing, because you're feeling into the field. And there's the field, and then there's you. And there's what's in alignment for you, what's in alignment with your truth, with your purpose, with your soul. And sometimes exactly what you said, Gabriel and I have had this happen so many times where this is the plan today. And then all of a sudden it's exactly that. Nope, this isn't what we're supposed to do today. And I thank Creator all the time, because there's usually something, there's a fallout or there's a something. Yes. And I've even had friends come back and say, you made the right decision in not going to that event tonight. This happened and this happened and this happened. And it was just complete drama. And I was like, missed that one, right? But it's as subtle as that. That's very powerful. That then allows you to, it's like staying in alignment. It's easy to be pulled and swayed, but maintaining or coming back into alignment, I think, is really key. And the listening, like you said, the ability to slow down and drop in.
Yeah,
know.
I think it's doing the work every day. So, everyone's theory of doing the work is different. My doing the work is make sure I give myself breaks, make sure I go outside barefoot, make sure I go for a walk, make sure I do nothing, whatever that looks like. Make sure I whip off my bra, all my clothes, and just stay with something comfy. I love to share raw and real, because I want everyone to realize you got to give yourself permission to do whatever feels good to you. Period. Business, life, love, that's what we're here for.
I totally agree with you.
I'm blessed to have you as my friend, girlfriend.
Oh, I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for you. And thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your truth. Thank you for living in the aligned space that you do. It's so beautiful to witness and to see. And you are a reflection of that. You're a reflection of that truth and light and beauty. And so I want to thank you so much for being here and for being a part of our world. And where's the best place for people to find you and learn more about your work in the world?
So it's real easy. Just head on over to mariafontana.com or the salonbusinessschool.com. And I'm all over social media, so I'm so easy to find.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
and I look forward to seeing you in our upcoming Pearl activation too. You're wearing the colors and the vibe, actually. Yes. When your camera popped on, I was like, oh my gosh, she's in the color, the whole frequency of the Pearl activation, right? So beautiful. That. And I want to thank you so much. You're an incredible being.
I'm honored to be with you in your program. I'm honored that you're a mentor, and I'm honored to always spread the word, because working on ourselves and the work you do is what is expansive to leadership in the moving forward in this world.
Thank you so much, honey. I so appreciate you. Sending infinite blessings to you and all the beautiful things that you're creating.
Thank you, love. Love and light, everyone.
Thank you. Before you go, we want to extend this beautiful invitation to join us in the Pearl Activation, Living and Being Your Higher Self. This is more than just a workshop. This is an experience where you get to enter a new vibrational field, a sacred chamber that is within you, that's been held by your soul, by your higher self from the beginning of time. This experience is designed to help you attune to you, to lift you into a new reality, the expanded version of you, so that you activate your intuitive gifts. You live as your higher self. You evolve the identity. Instead of being seeker, you move into that sovereign co-creatorship, really trusting your inner guidance with absolute clarity, being able to collapse time between what you want, what you desire, and the manifested coming to fruition version, being able to release the old, rise into the new, come back into your magnetic presence and power that is your higher self. When you live as your higher self, you begin to feel fulfilled, deeply guided, extremely aligned in every area of your life, and life gets to be really fun. And this doesn't need to take years. This transformation can happen very quickly, very gracefully, with cosmic precision. And Gabriel and I are excited to invite you to be your hosts, to be in the right space, to be held by us so that we can help you activate your own inner pearl, your own divine wisdom. So if you want to join us in this free experience, it kicks off on June 23rd to the 27th. All you have to do is click the link in the show notes below, and we will send everything to you. We can't wait to see you there, and we look forward to seeing all that you become in this next version of your higher self. Thank you so much for joining us today on another episode of the Rising Consciousness Show. For more high vibration conversations, meditations, energy activations, and tips and tools on creating your most exceptional life, we lovingly invite you to connect with us at academyoflight.ca. The website is www.academyoflight.ca. It is time to create your heaven on earth experience, and we look forward to sharing this beautiful journey with you.
You're listening to Rising Consciousness. Yeah.
Woo!
Woo!